Here I am, here I is. It's Tuesday night, everything is all right. You know what that means, it's time to break on through. As I struggle with trying to make your viewing pleasure the best it can possibly be. Hold on a second, y'all. I'll be with you in a second. Well, I am glad you all are made it, and you're in early. Everybody's feeling squirrely. You got to hear a little break on through on a Tuesday night. Well, I'll tell you right now that it's Tuesday, but it already feels like this week has been a long one. Can you dig it? Man, I don't know what that glare is over there on Exit the Dragon, Enter the Tiger. Oh, I know what it is. Hold on a second, y'all. All right, let's go back, Jack. Do it again. Brad Mullins, you have hit on pretty much what I'm going to talk about tonight. I got to be real careful how I approach this because I don't want there to be any preconceived notions, but this is not a tribute break on through. This is a recognition of a very unique individual whom I love and is going through a very, very tough time right now. And I'm talking about the one and only Doug Throgmorton. Now, I will say this, and I've said this before, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Man, I have played with a lot of really good drummers over the years. And I have also had, hold on a second, let me adjust this camera a little bit more. I've also had the pleasure of playing with a few whom I would consider great drummers. I think I'm finally getting it together here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lay out the great drummers that I have performed with, played with, written music with, recorded with. One would be my brother, Greg Clayton. You heard him on Eat More Possum. The other would be the current drummer, the juggernaut of Antiseen. I'm talking about the one and only Sir Barry Hannibal. Now, I don't know that they'd necessarily be third. I think you might be first. And I think that Greg and Barry both would agree that one of the greatest drummers I've ever played with in my life was Doug Throgmorton. And we were fortunate to have him in the lineup twice. And he recorded on the record, the first time he recorded quite a few things. No full-length albums except for that's mainly his drumming on the record we did with Gigi. But lots of singles, lots of EPs. And what most Antiseen fans and historians will agree is Blood of Freaks. The Blood of Freaks EP was the one where we kind of started to take shape of being the band that we would be from there on out, with some you know, changes and veering off the beaten path along the way, all the way up until today. And while I was in church Saturday night, I got a text. I couldn't reply to it at the time, but I got a text from Robert Everett, my main Robert Everett over at Spooky's down there in Gastonia town. Telling me that Doug was in the hospital, had been in the hospital for a bit, and that he was found unresponsive in his apartment and had been that way for at least 2 days. Now that is the only details I have of that right now. I didn't feel like pressing the family, like, you know, I was like some interviewer and had to know, but Robbie had been keeping me up with the updates of what was going on, and he made it down there yesterday at the beginning of visiting hours, and was keeping me posted of what was going on. And I told him I was going to go right after work, and he agreed that would be best. I don't think nothing ever prepares you for what you're actually going to see when you walk in and see a loved one in that condition. But I could sit here and go through all the things that are possibly going wrong with him right now, but I'm not going to do that. I will wait until I get something a little more accurate. But when I was there, I got to hold him by the arm, and I got down and spoke to him, and I said, "Man, I know you're in there. I know you hear me." And I prayed for him. And I told him I loved him. And I told him there's a lot of people that love you. Right when I was doing that, my brother, Greg, texted me and said, "Tell Doug I love him." And I said, "Man, Greg just texted me. And he loves you." And I met one of his nieces and her husband, and I met his sister and her husband. They're all really great people, really, really nice folks. And I had met a sister a long time ago, but it was really nice to talk. But it's the same old cliche thing, man. It's great to see you, nice to see you again. Sorry it's under these circumstances type thing. I haven't gotten any updates today, so I'm assuming things are the exact same. And this was the main thing I wanted to talk. I didn't really have anything prepared, as you're probably figuring out about right now. So, if you have any questions you'd like to ask me for the next I don't know, 30 minutes. Please don't ask me something that's going to take me 2 hours to explain. Or I think, man, you guys know. I'm preaching to the converted now. But yeah, I would just like to ask that if you are praying people, that you please pray for Doug. And if praying is not your thing and you just send good vibes, you think good thoughts of it, man, he needs all the help he can get right now. And I know some people really go off the handle when you say, prayers and thoughts and prayers. But man, you know what? Sometimes that's all you have. Sometimes that's all you can do. Now, I see y'all are saying share some Doug story. Man, I've got a ton of Doug stories. I'm trying to think of some that if his family were to watch this, they wouldn't be upset because, Doug lived hard. Let's just put it that way. He lived hard. And I think that hard living is finally catching up with him. I'll tell you a story I'll tell. I may have told this before, but I'll tell you how he even got the job, man. We were already on drummer number 2. Mitch Cooper had quit when it became apparent that we did not want his partner I am drawing Paul Jensen. We didn't want to be a 5-piece. Early on we knew that, even though we were a 5-piece twice. So soon after that, we got Brad Keeter. And we did some really exciting, groundbreaking for us things with Brad and the band. But Brad had to be let go. And might I say, there was no hard feelings with Brad later. There's no hard feelings with Mitch. I think sometimes Mitch thinks there is, but there's not. I assure you, there's not. And but rest in peace, Brad Keeter. I gotta say that. But we got wind that Doug Throgmorton had left Bedlam Hour. Mondo Brownswell was asking what was Bedlam Hour like. Man, they were kind of like, a poppy, kind of funny, I don't know if it was really hardcore, a punk rock band. They were a fun band. They were really fun. We've known those guys forever. I don't know that we ever played together. Maybe we did, but I don't remember. I remember Joe being especially impressed with seeing Doug play somewhere, and we did you hear Coleman screaming? Anyway, we went to a Jason and the Scorchers show on the Winthrop College campus in one of the auditoriums, and man, it pretty packed out. Joe and I would go see Jason and the Scorchers anytime they played within a 2-hour radius. So, needless to say, we saw them quite a bit. But we went down to the Rock Hill show, and I don't know that we were actually knew that we would see Doug there, but we saw him. This was the classic Doug. The long, caveman-looking hair, the big trench coat, the jeans with the zipper, the zipper ripped out and tied up with shoelaces. That's how he kept his jeans up. And he knew who we were. He'd been to see us several times, and we happened to see him in the crowd in between bands, and we were like, "Hey, man, we know you left Bedlam Hour. Would you like to come play with us? For a while?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then we were practicing at a place over on Moorhead. It was one of those rent by the hour practice facilities. I don't even think the building's there anymore. But we met there at the time. I don't think he ever played with us with Dale Duncan. Because, see, we had to let Brad go. Dale was going. So we basically lost a rhythm section all at the same time. But the rhythm section problem was fixed when we had when we got Marlon Cherry. Marlon Cherry worked at the record exchange, and he was him and his wife were both good friends of mine, and I was over there all the time, and he could play anything. He could play any instrument, and we were able to get Marlon. Pete, what we call him Pete Cherry. And this was also, and I guess the impact of losing that rhythm section, all at once, we were finally starting to get stuff happening. We recorded, we hadn't recorded yet. We recorded Drastic. And, we were really wanting to get something else going. But we wanted it to be way different. We weren't interested in repeating exactly what we did on Drastic. We wanted it to be different. So that's when we did the first time, the only time we ever had a second guitar player, and that was Dana Ace Davis. Rest in peace, Ace. Now, this is going to be kind of disparaging on Ace, but I mean, if you want to hear the true story, I'll tell you the true story. He got into the band simply by playing the kind of leads we wanted to hear, man. We wanted to hear stuff like was on the first Stooges record. Lots of wah-wah, lots of fuzz, lots of feedback, string bending. And he got the job. And we started practicing with Doug. We started practicing with Marlon. So it was basically me and Joe with basically a whole new band. And even the first few practices, I just remember, playing stuff. We played Queen City Stomp. Early songs like Wife Beater, Meat Market, Absent Minded, stuff like that, and the ones that didn't have leads, we were adding leads into them. But man, we actually, I guess I got a little bit ahead of myself. No, I didn't. Dana was in the band before. We were a 5-piece already. That's how it happened, because we recorded Honor Among Thieves, and Honor Among Thieves was Dale Duncan on bass, Brad Keeter on drums, and Dana on guitar. But by this time, Dana was starting to go into his own way of playing lead, like what he preferred, which was, it wasn't named at the time, but kind of what would turn into the more glam metal type stuff. And me and Joe were really hating it. And one day we just asked him to leave. And so we're back to a 4-piece, and that is when we went and recorded EP Royalty with the lineup of Clayton, Young, Cherry, and Throgmorton. And as most of you guys that know, that listen to those records and know them real well, you'll know the drums were very, very prominent on EP Royalty. That's because, and the bass, because we had a fantastic drummer and bass player, and so we wanted that stuff to be heard. But we were still hitting that real thin, high-pitched guitar sound, so we still figured it was still Antiseen, and it just took forever for Honor Among Thieves to come out. A lot of people think EP Royalty is our second record, but it's not. It's actually our third. Honor Among Thieves was indeed the second record. We went from Drastic EP to Honor Among Thieves. But the label that was going to put it out, which was Bonafide, was having a heck of a time raising the funds to do it. And so instead of, I mean, I don't know why we didn't think of ways to raise the funds to get it, but instead we were just kind of like, well, that's dead in the water. Let's move on and record another one. And now this one was like a giant leap from Drastic to EP Royalty, in my opinion. But when the record label heard the new EP that we put out ourselves, we put that one out ourselves. We put out Drastic and EP Royalty ourselves. And so I guess I forgot where I was going with it. But eventually, Pete Marlin moved to New York City. And so that left me, Doug, and Joe, and who would swoop right into the rescue to keep us afloat for a little while, but Dina Williams. Now, a lot of you got to meet Dina at the 35th anniversary show. We had her there for the autograph signing. And I'm thinking maybe we will we'll have her back at the 50th. The 50th, we're gonna try to have the biggest Antiseen autograph session that there's ever been. And we got to beat the 35th one. So that's gonna be a tough one. But anyway, I'm getting way off subject. So then we're faced with another problem. Now see, Doug loved playing. He loved playing. He loved recording. He hated traveling. He hated it. And I could tell a ton of stories about how he battled that, but I'm not going to tell those tonight. I'm going to keep going with, the history of us and Doug. And the schedule started to get too busy for Doug. So now it's me, Joe, Doug Throgmorton, and Dina. Then I get the earth-shattering news that Joe is going to move to Atlanta. So I'm completely floored at this time. Hold on, y'all. My page just messed up. Let me fix this right quick. So, Joe's leaving. And now I don't know what to do. What, am I still going to do Antiseen? And now I don't know what to do. Hear me? What, am I still going to do Antiseen? So, sorry, y'all. All right, here we go. So, what am I going to do? And now I don't have my guitar player, the guy that has the sound. But I just decided, well, I'm just gonna keep it going, and that's when and Doug stuck with me. And I was gonna keep Antiseen going, and I did. I got a couple, and much to her credit, Dina offered to stay on, but man, I didn't want to hold her back because I didn't know how long this is going to take, and I thanked her for her time in the band, and it was great playing music with her. And but I found some guys up around Hickory in the Maiden area, and we were going to go on as Antiseen, but man, we had a disastrous show. Doug was still playing. I'm not going to get into how that went off the rails either, but it's very, very disheartening, except for the fact that Joe was at the show, and he came on at the end and played a few songs, and he was like, okay, vindication. The place went crazy. I think at that time we all kind of knew without saying it what was going to happen. So Doug stuck with me. We recorded an album. We recorded an entire Antiseen album called "We're Going to Eat You." The tagline from Fulci's Zombie. But see, but this is back in the days when you had to watch that clock on that studio time, man. We got as much stuff done with that studio time as we could, man. And I just remember it flowing so good, and we had some really great songs. But then one day, and I know I've told this before, but Tom and I came home from work, and there's Joe standing in the yard. And we get out of the car. Hey, man, what's going on? He said, hey, is it okay if I stay with y'all for a few days till I find a place? And we said, you're back? He goes, yeah. And mate, I'm going to tell you. I don't think we sat down and went, so are you back in the band? The band just picked right back up. But now it's Tom O'Keefe, Joe Young, and Throgmorton. And I failed to mention that in between all this, when one of the reasons I didn't bring Dina along is because that Tom and I were recording and playing live with Judas Bullethead. And Doug played with us on, I don't know, man, I don't know if he played on the EP. I'd have to consult one of the records to find it. But I know he did one of the better of the live shows with us, and of the 3 we did before we took a 25-year hiatus. And so here I am. I got this whole album, but now I'm like, I'm not going to put this out as an Antiseen record. I'm not going to do it. And I just I presented the new lineup. I said, man, let's record another record. And man, I don't even think Honor Among Thieves had come out yet. This is 1987. We went into 88. But I let these guys hear Up All Night, Hippie Punk, Wish I'd Killed You When I Had the Chance, and I Don't Need You. And they were like, man, these are some powerful good songs. I was like, okay, well, let's just learn these, and we'll put out a new Antiseen 7-inch, which we had just got on with Ajax. Joe was the first one to get on with Ajax to do a solo record, which he came to Charlotte to record with Throgmorton and Phil Rogers while we were doing the Slime Goats, and Joe used me, Phil, and Doug for his record, Bury the Needle. But so here I got this record. I teach the guys, I let them learn. Like, they learned the songs. So we go, this is going to be the next Antiseen EP. I said, okay, but I'm not going to let the Slime Goat versions out. I said, I'll take the rest of the songs. Well, we didn't even know it was called the Slime Goats yet. I said, I'm getting ahead of myself like crazy. I said, I'm going to take these songs and I'm going to make an EP, And I'm going to call it Jeff Clayton and the Slime Goats. So I did. Slime Goats after a Judas Bullethead song. I'm really proud of that record. And I'll tell you what, those 4 tracks that would become the Blood of Freaks EP, those 4 tracks have never been released on anything. But all I can say is stay tuned to Long Haired Weirdo, because I may put out the Jeff Clayton and the Slime Goats LP, We Are Going to Eat You, in its entirety. Can you dig that? I mean, you got to tell me something. Tell me something. But we had Doug all the way through Blood of Freaks. And one of the things I remember, and when it came to actually playing, Doug was the consummate professional. He rarely screwed up. He always played at full power. And I just remember we got through the tracks, and the studio, the engineer, Frank Rogers, says, man, we didn't have the overhead cymbal mics on. So we're thinking, so we got to go, the mic, they didn't record. So we're like, wow, we got to record all 4 songs again? He says, unless you just want to play the cymbals again. And I remember Doug thinking that was the most ludicrous thing he ever heard. It was probably one of the most ludicrous things we've all ever heard. But rather than go back and record them, man, he did it. He sat there at that drum kit. Dun 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 dun. He nailed it. I don't know that anyone even knows or would have noticed unless I explained it. I don't know. Maybe some of you audiophiles listen to it. It sounds like they went back and recorded the cymbals later. But we went back and recorded the cymbals later. But Doug got his stamp on Blood of Freaks. And as the old saying goes, the rest is history. Doug finally told us he'd had enough with the traveling. He didn't want to do it anymore. So there was no big nasty breakup, no hard feelings. We just had to move on. And that's when we got where did we go from there? Where did we go from here? Oh man, I can't even remember that. Oh, I guess that's when Greg joined. No, Steve Sadler. Steve Sadler was running sound for us at the time. And then we got Steve Sadler. So that's when we started recording lots of EPs and Southern Hostility. Greg didn't come around until about 92, 93. So, yeah. Doug's always been a friend. I will go for the rest of my life saying that having him play behind us was it was a great honor, because he was a powerhouse on drums. And like I said earlier, I think Barry and my brother both would agree that he was the man on the drum kit. And that's from 2 other guys who are also the man on the drum kit. But yeah, we've had Doug when we started doing the autograph. We got Doug to play with us again at the 20-year anniversary, and I'm hoping he's going to play with us at 45. But and there's Julie. Hey, Julie. Julie Throgmorton. But I guess on to the announcements. The pullover hoodie. The pre-order for the pullover hoodie ends next Monday. Monday will be the 41st birthday of Antiseen. "41 years. Can you dig it? I know you're asking me now, where we're going to be able to see Antiseen on year 41. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see us on the Texas-Louisiana Halloween Hayride, where we will be in Shreveport, Louisiana, on Wednesday, October 30th. On Thursday, October 31st, Halloween night, we will be at Sagebrush in Austin, Texas, with our good friends Rancid Vat. On Friday, we will be in San Antonio. No, I got that wrong. The Halloween show, we will be playing with Sabbath Crow. San Antonio, the town of Rancid Vat, will be playing with Rancid Vat. And then on that Saturday, we will be in Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm going to post the flyer in here. I'm going to post all the flyers so you'll be able to see everything. And if you would, please repost these flyers, share them around, post them in groups that might have something to do with anything we're doing. And I forgot to also add, the Josephus and the George Jonestown Massacre will be opening for us all 4 shows. Great friends of ours, a great band, and I know you all enjoy it if you come out and see us. And for those wondering, Mark Deal, what do you mean you'll be missing that show? Are you going to be in San Antonio? But Charlotte, December 7th, Milestone, Charlotte, Antiseen with Dallas Tetanus. And Future Hate from Mobile, Alabama. It is going to be a knockdown, drag out rock and roll party in the street that will end early. It will begin early. But, yeah, that's it. Please remember, if you want any of the commemorative, only 10 pair made Antiseen tennis shoes, customized by the one and only Wrong Walt Wheat. Get in touch with him. He has 3 slots open. 3 slots. All right, Mark, so we'll see y'all in San Antonio. Okay. All right. So 3 slots ready. So listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. I've been thinking about Doug all day. And I will be saying a prayer for him once again here in a little bit. And for tonight's show, I'm wearing this cross that was given to me by Mondo Braswell. This used to belong to Pop Braswell, who was a minister, and I was very honored to receive this. And you can see, Mondo, I am wearing it tonight. And I really appreciate it. And once again, I'm just gonna ask you all to please send out a prayer for Doug. If you're not praying types, then please send out any kind of positive thoughts, vibes, vibrations, anything to him. Well, that's all I got tonight. And I appreciate y'all for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. It might have been a heavy show, but man, life has its heavy moments, as we all know. We've all gone through heavy moments. And all I can say is once more, please pray for Doug. And I'm going to send this out to Doug right now. Brother, we love you. I want you playing at the 45th anniversary. I want you strong. And I will see you again soon. Thank you, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you being here with me. Don't forget, say one for Doug Throgmorton today. Thank you.